would stop breathing if you told me to. Now you're busy loving someone else.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. This review is the mid-season finale to Tyler Perry's Divorced Sistas. This is season 1, episode 8, Birds of a Feather. So we open up the episode exactly where we left off, with Naomi showing a video clip of Myron being caught on camera on his cell phone telling someone how much he loves Jeff and Jeff loves him. So Rashida asked Naomi, does that make her feel better? And Naomi told her, yeah, I feel fine. So Rashida tells her, look, I know you're hurting and you want everybody else to hurt with you. It's given misery loves company. But this is a new low. This is beyond low. This is low down and dirty. And she pretty much tells Naomi to her face that she's done with her. So Naomi want to play crazy, asking her why she mad. Rashida asked all the other ladies, do they believe what's being said? So Bridget, she flat out said no. Geneva, stumbling and stammering, knowing she lying, says no. But Tiffany tells the truth and says, yes, there are rumors floating around all through these streets that they are a little close. So Rashida gets in her feelings like, you guys knew about these rumors and nobody bothered to come and tell me? Now, the one thing that gets me with Rashida in this moment, she's acting like she just did not have a whole big thing with Jeff this morning about Myron calling his phone talking about baby and telling him, oh, I see the way he looks at you. Are you attracted to him? Are you having an affair with him? She saw it, so what makes her think nobody else saw it? So she doesn't tell her friends that that has crossed her mind a time or two or whatever, and she's addressed it with Jeff already. She says that unanswered rumors can become dangerous and you have to be wise when deciding what to address. Going public can make things much larger than what it needs to be, or don't say anything about it, which I feel like that's what they've been doing, not saying anything. And that's why you have all these little whispers and rumors in the churches and the salons and all over the nigger nets, which is wild. So she tells them she's going to nip all this in the bud and get to the bottom of it right now. So she goes and get Jeff and Myron from outside. So when they get inside, Rashida tells Naomi to play the clip. So Jeff confronts Myron and asks him, were you talking about me? And he says, oh, no, I was talking to my wife. So Naomi jumps in, why would you be talking to your wife about him? And just cuts to the chase, how long have y'all been effing? Jeff denies it and calls her an evil devil, and Bridget takes up for her pastor. And he wanted to know how many of y'all believe this. Bridget, of course, doesn't believe it. Rashida claims she didn't believe it, but I didn't hear a mumbling word from Tiffany or Geneva. But Geneva did want to know from Myron who he was talking to on the phone, and so did Jeff. Like, tell us, who were you talking to? So now he's over there stumbling and bumbling, trying to come up with another lie. And here goes Rashida, I have a better question. I'm like, no, girl, I want the answer to this question first. But she proceeds, and we find out that Myron has been working for the church for 3 years. And she asks him, are you in love with my husband? Myron lies and says that he's not. He just likes taking care of the pastor and Rashida. So Jeff asks them, are you the one that sent the email? And everybody is looking around like, what email? So Jeff said a while back he got an email from someone in the church that there was someone close to him that was in love with him and that would be willing to do anything. Jeff said he just ignored it because they get that kind of stuff all the time. So Geneva wanted to know, did he still have the email, because she can trace the IP address to see where it came from. Now, who do you guys think actually sent this email to Jeff? So he thanked Geneva for wanting to help with the email, but he had to let it be known that he was not gay. He was not bisexual, he loved women, and he loved his wife and would not cheat on her, and especially not with a man. Sorry to disappoint all of you. And he was ready to go. But before leaving, Rashida had to let Naomi know she was for real, and was done with her. Geneva is trying to get her to stop talking, and she's like, no, if we allow her to abuse us the way he's abusing her and sit in this with her, she's gonna think it's okay to treat us like this. Hell to the no. No, ma'am, I'm done. Rashida, I'm with you when you're right, but make sure you stand on business. Don't come back episode 9 and act like this conversation never took place. So Rashida tells Bridget to make sure her truck gets back to the church, and she walks off, and Jeff tells her to hold up so he can open the door for her, but he turns to Myron and says, you can get a ride with them because my wife is riding with me, and we'll discuss this situation later. So Jeff and Rashida leave, and Bridget tells Myron she'll give him a ride, and he's like, no, I'm good. I'll get a car to come and pick me up. So Bridget and him go outside. Then you had 2 police come in Naomi's house and basically serve her with a lawsuit from Franklin for $50 million for assault. So Jeff and Rashida, they're in the car and she's teasing him about being super naive, and he's pissed that he didn't see it. And he says the saddest part about it is that Myron was the best assistant that he's ever had. So they laughed and joked and was having a good time in the car. And it's the first time we've actually seen them be in a good space with each other since the series started. So he told her, look, I know I've been slacking, focusing all on the wrong things. And she basically was telling him, don't worry about it, and thanked him for showing up for her because it felt like he really cared for her. So Jeff brings up Myron wanting to know what to do with him. He wants to fire him. Rashida tells him, no, you have to be real careful because you don't want him getting mad and then running, trying to file a lawsuit, making up all kind of lies. Jeff still sitting there being naive, talking about he wouldn't do anything like that. And Rashida had to check him again, like, come on now, we're just going to let this play out. So out of nowhere, Rashida becomes David Copperfield. She pulls this pea cup from wherever she got it from and says it's for labs. She found a lab that can get some results back in like 6 hours. That's how bad she thinks he's doing drugs. So Jeff brings up he knows how my father and brothers were, and I'm like, you mean your foster family or your biological family? Like, let's get into that. But anyway, she wants Jeff to talk to Laz because he's hanging with the wrong crowd, doing this and that and the other, and she doesn't want him to be talking to him all soft and like a wimp. She wants him to get him together and curse his ass out. So we get in the car with Tiffany and Bridget, and she says that Rashida watches Jeff like a hawk and has all of his passwords to everything. Tiffany says that you should marry a man like that who's willing to give up those things. And Bridget said it couldn't be her because she doesn't want to go through all the foolishness that Naomi and Tiffany went through, but then you're willing to go through all the foolishness with Vaughn, but make that make sense. But anyway, so they talk about how Naomi is getting worse and worse every day and how it's not going to lead anywhere good and how she could possibly lose all her money from Franklin and end up broke. Tiffany seems to understand all of that because she's still pissed off that she has to give John $600 a month for alimony. And they're wondering what Naomi plans to do if she goes broke because she hasn't had a job since her and Franklin met. So they pull up to the church and Tiffany goes and get in her car talking about she has a date tonight. She has to go get ready. Bridget goes to get in her car when she sees Myron sitting in his car crying. So she offers a listening ear. So he's sniffing and snotting, talking about he just knows he's going to be fired. And she was like, just come tomorrow and just do your job. She questioned him about being in love with Jeff, and he says, no, I'm in love with my wife. She wanted to know why was he talking like that on the phone about Jeff, and he really didn't want to answer that. He's still going on and on about being fired. And she's like, look, you can lie to whoever you was on the phone with, but when you ready to talk to me and tell the truth, give me a call. He wants to know when she's getting to work, what time, because he's going to wait for her to get there. And they dragged out the scene so long, going back and forth about him coming to work the next day, only for him to go into Jeff's office the same day. So Jeff and Rashida pull up and she talks to Bridget briefly and wanted to know what Myron was talking about. And Bridget told her that he's a mess, thinking he's going to get fired. And Rashida didn't confirm or deny whether she was going to fire him or not. But she told Bridget she was headed home. She didn't need anything. But she did want Bridget to let her know if she heard any more news about Vaughn. I guess she's still concerned about his well-being, even though he played in everybody's face. Bridget told her that she was sorry for what happened over at Naomi's house, and Rashida let her know that she was done and that Naomi was going to have to figure all that out on her own. And Bridget says she needs to be done with Naomi as well. And I'm like, I don't know why it's so hard for you. It should be easy, but she's a loyal friend to the end. Rashida tells her you will when you get tired. So we go over there to Tiffany's house. She has a real nice place. She's unwinding, getting her glass of wine when she gets a call from Javon. He tells her he really liked the house next door to Geneva and William, and he wants to put an offer in because he's already tired of living in the hotel. And I'm wondering just how long has Javon been in town? So then he wanted to know just how spontaneous she was. Like, would she be willing to just pick up and go out of town with him with no questions asked? At first, she was like down with it. So he wants to go to Italy with Geneva and William. I'm like, you doing way too much. Like, this is ridiculous. She tells him she has to watch Anika. And he was like, well, let Rashida do it. Like, sir, that's not your call to make. Like, pump your brakes. She's telling him she has to talk to Geneva about all of this. And he says, no, she's going to try to talk you out of it. Let me talk to William. She's like, no, that is my friend. Like, your answer should have just been no, period. You know this is the time for William and Geneva to rekindle their love together. This is their first time having a vacation since Anika's been born, so why would you even want to go there? At this point, Javon is doing way too much, and I caught that little comment he made about, I might have to come move in with you. Like, Javon is up to something. So in the next scene, we see Naomi on the phone with Hakeem telling him to meet her over to the bank. We see Naomi's crazy behind had the nerve to go to the hospital to Lindsay's room with Franklin sitting in there, and he jumps up like you done lost your effing mind. Now, the way he had those civil papers drawn up to sue her for assault, he should have already had a restraining order already on deck. But she comes in there antagonizing him, saying all kind of stuff about him and Lindsay, basically trying to get him to assault her so she can countersue, in my opinion. But they call security on her. A nurse comes in there and tells her, look, she can get infected if you touch her. And Naomi didn't give a damn. She done threw some flowers on the girl back and ran out of the room. So then she takes her crazy behind down to the bank and meets up with Hakeem to show him the $1 million. He's shocked by looking at it like, can I hold it? She's like, you can't hold ish. So he tells her, what if I just hit you over the head and just take all of it and leave? She lets him know that she will look for everybody with his DNA and make sure that they're unalived. She pretty much lets him know that before he even came to her doorstep, she did her homework. She knows about his 9-year-old daughter, that he spent time in prison for attempted murder and assault, and he did 15 years and he's still on probation right now. And it's pretty much given that she sought him out so he can complete this mission that she's on to take out Franklin and Lindsay. So he was still trying to get some of the money, and she told him she wasn't giving him a damn thing, and they were not going to discuss details in the bank. He looked around at the cameras and told her he wasn't doing nothing and F her and left. So we get a phone call between Tiffany and Rashida telling her about Javon asking her to go to Italy. So Rashida was like, you just met him and I thought you were supposed to be babysitting Anika. Now I'm trying to figure out why they're acting like a few hours ago they didn't have a conversation that Tiffany did not want to watch Anika because Geneva was acting funny, and Rashida jumped right in and said she would automatically do it. So what changed? But nevertheless, Rashida told her she didn't think she should go to Italy. She needs to take her time with Javon and get to know him. Tiffany agreed and said she will let him know when they go to dinner. So we go back over there to the church, and Myron comes into Jeff's office and says the reason he came back was to clean his desk out because he knows he's going to be fired. Jeff basically tells him, you're wrong. So Myron starts with all of that, oh, I betrayed you type thing, this and that and the other. Jeff didn't want to hear any of that. He wanted to know, who were you on the phone with? Was it a man or a woman? He says it was a man. The person works in the church, and they were the one who put it in Myron's head that Jeff wanted him. The fact that Jeff didn't make Myron tell him who was on the other line really pissed me off. So then Jeff asked him, why you didn't tell me you had feelings for me? Like, would that have changed things if he would have came to you and told you that, Jeff? But Myron tells him, I didn't know how to. So he asked him, are you gay? He says the usual, I love my wife. He tells him, you can still be gay and love your wife. And I'm like, interesting. So Jeff is pretty much giving him another chance to redeem himself, work through his denial and whatever it is he's feeling with the therapist, but it won't be with him. And he says to him he needs to start being honest with himself and the people that cares about him. And why did Jeff say that? Because it's like, oh, you care about me? And Jeff was like, yeah, because you've been a loyal friend. But Jeff made it very clear it will not be happening with him ever. So Jeff pretty much tells him to get back to work, but he wants to know what about the first lady. And Jeff tells him she'll talk to you when she's ready. And you better be ready because it's not going to be nice. And when Myron says, I will be ready, the music got a little tense. And in that moment, I felt like Myron should have been fired. So we go over there to Geneva's house, and William is walking her to the kitchen with her eyes closed, saying he has a surprise for her. And lo and behold, it's Javon in their kitchen cooking up steaks. And I'm like, this is just way too out of hand for me. So of course, Geneva is shocked and appalled, talking about you guys are full of surprises. So Javon starts throwing out these sexual innuendos, talking about, do you want to taste? She says, I'll wait till dinner. He says, ooh, well, I won't be able to see your face when you bite into this juicy meat. I'm like, woo, cha. Javon is so messy. And poor William, he's so oblivious, he yelling out, "I'll try it." I'm like, I don't think you want the meat he's talking about. It's for your wife. So while he's trying to stake, Javon over there giving Geneva the eye, and she turned on, giving him the eye back. So William tells Geneva that Javon wanted to invite Tiffany on their trip to Italy. And Geneva is looking like, no, that's not going to work because she's supposed to be watching Anika. They say, oh, we just talked to Rashida. She'll watch her. Like, what? Even if it was someone other than Javon, I feel like William should have discussed that with Geneva ahead of time because this is supposed to be a trip for the two of them. And then Javon with his messy ass says, or we can bring Anika with us. Me and Tiffany wouldn't mind. First of all, it's not y'all trip for you to mind in the first place. Like, really? And then he says, I'm sure she'll end up being like a daughter to me anyway. I'm like, Geneva. So out of nowhere, we hear Anika screaming and everybody starts taking off to go see what's going on. And come to find out, she fell off the swing and is bleeding. So they're rushing her to the hospital. So we go over there to Rashida's house and she goes into her bedroom to find her son Laz getting something out of their nightstand. So he lies and says he was looking for a tie to wear to church on Sunday. Come to find out, he a whole klepto up in this piece. He has a whole wad of money in his hand. She takes the money from him and he's like, give me the money. I need it because I'm going to the movies with some friends you don't know nothing about. She asks him, are you on drugs? He says no. So she tells him she needs him to pee in a cup. He says he's not peeing in a cup. So they go back and forth about that to the point where he now says, give me the money. And he snatches her arms up like, give me the money. Don't make me hurt you. And I'm like, oh, hell no, you got to go. You got to go. All of a sudden, Kelly comes and opens the bedroom door and he backs off saying, I'm sorry. And he walks off. Rashida is standing there looking shocked like she can't believe it. And I'm like, girl, you should have went black mama mode on that ass. He should have been on the floor. There is nothing like a disrespectful child. You in there cursing, talking about this ish is stupid. And then you have the audacity to put your hands on your mama? Boy, bye. So Kelly is shaking up. She can't believe what she just saw. So she's asking Rashida, is she okay? Like, Mom, are you okay? Rashida is standing there speechless, but she tells her, yes, I'm okay. So we go over there to the hospital and it must be taking a while because they're getting anxious. Sarah, she's feeling very remorseful for what happened and saying that she stepped away for a minute. The guys are trying to comfort her, telling her, look, these things happen. She's a kid. But Geneva, she's like, oh, you need to be more careful because you know she was a preemie and acted like she's so disgusted with the lady. She tells her she can just go. Like, girl, you weren't even watching your child. You haven't even seen Anika in over 24 hours. So when are you going to watch her? So William explains that Sarah made a mistake. Sarah gets up crying and she leaves. And then out of nowhere, here comes Tiffany. And Geneva's like, what are you doing here? Javon said he called her, but why? So Tiffany asked, like, how is Anika doing? And Geneva says she'll be fine and that her and Javon can leave. Tiffany told her she wasn't going anywhere. So Geneva asked her, did she call the rest of the girls? And Tiffany told her no. She was like, well, good, because we need our family time right now. And she was in no position to go back and forth with Tiffany and that she'll call her. So she basically was like, get out. So then the doctor walks up as they're doing all of that, saying that Anika needed a blood transfusion. And it's better if it comes from the parents. So William is like, which way do I go? I'm good. I'm ready to give my daughter some blood. So the doctor, to me, is acting crazy because she's like, I think Geneva should do it. Instead of her pulling them to the side to talk or whatever, she's straight up dismissing what William is talking about. And Geneva is standing there like, why can't he do it? And he's telling her, well, Geneva hates needles. My thing is, it doesn't matter when it comes to your child. You're going to love them needles today. You was doing the IVF with needles. So if she need a blood transfusion, you need to deal with the needles, period. But once again, the doctor was very unprofessional and dismissive and was like, well, I'll just use a blood bank. Like, you need to tell them what's going on. So after all of that, she finally tries to pull Geneva off to the side, which you should have done that in the first place. And Geneva tells her she's not going anywhere until she makes it make sense. So then she finally blurts it out. Anika is AB, so we need an AB donor. So it's clicking in William's mind, my blood type is O, so there's no way my child would be AB. And the doctor is like, you are correct. And the translation to all of that is, William, you are not the father. And that's where the episode ends. Woo, child. What did you guys think of the mid-season finale? We pretty much knew from the gate that Anika was not William's child. But hey, it is what it is. What do you guys think about Last putting his hands on his mother? What do you think about Jeff not firing Myron when he had the chance? And I still feel some kind of way that Jeff didn't make Myron tell him who he was on the phone with. But whatever. Hopefully we get a season 2 renewal and a release date for the remaining 8 episodes to season 1, because we really need them like yesterday. And with that being said, let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Drop down in the comments if you have any theories, predictions, or whatever. Let's talk about them down below. And as always, you guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.